And, I'd like to get to this. This is all because of an experimental mail-in voting system whose weaknesses were predicted way ahead of the time by Barack Obama in 2008, said, yeah, there is voter fraud in mail-in ballots. Debbie Wasserman Schultz also said, the former DNC chair, said, yeah, there's problems with mail-in ballots. The Postal Service itself warned that mail-in voting could basically be problematic. So there are warnings out there about this, right, Ken? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge policy call driven, of course, by COVID. Sometimes the policy implementation, such as by Pennsylvania Governor Wolf and the Supreme Court, were utterly unlawful. So that is yet to become. So there's going to be a reckoning in the fullness of time. In Nevada, the allegations are, as I understand them, that there are over 10,000 votes, these kinds of votes, right, mail-in ballots, from eligible voters. The former Attorney General, Adam Laxalt, who's a very able lawyer, said there are allegations now that dead people were voting. Well, they can't mail it in, but it just shows the potential for mischief, and that in turn shows the need for these checks and balances, this transparency. And the Trump campaign is not asking for new laws, it's asking for the enforcement of existing laws to ensure honesty and integrity.
But what is the constitutional question that the Supreme Court would have to address if this, in fact, heads over to the Supreme Court? I mean, the president can't just walk in there and say, Supreme Court justices deal with this. There has to be a constitutional question. What is it?
The usurpation of legislative authority. And Pennsylvania, I think, is skating on thin ice because of what the governor and the state Supreme Court did. I think it's a cold on the docks violation of the Constitution to change the rules at the 11th hour. That is a key. The other thing is not treating the ballots equally, having procedures in place, and that was, of course, what was the infamous Florida litigation. What was the fundamental problem in Bush v. Gore? Two, they were changing the law, they being the election officials were not following the law, and secondly, they were not consistent in the counting of the ballots.
We hear what you're saying. I mean, the fight is that the state legislatures decide what is a valid ballot, not state courts. Justice Roberts would disagree. They say, and Elena Kagan say that that the courts decide what the state legislatures should apply the law there, because this is basically deciding who is an elector for the Electoral College. I mean, so that seems where the dividing line is. It could very well head to the Supreme Court, and then Justice Barrett would be the fifth vote potentially deciding this. Who knows? Your final word, Ken.
She may be the sixth vote. Chief Justice Roberts has not cast a vote on the ultimate issue. He simply voted to deny a stay. That's not the final word.
All right, Ken Starr, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You bet.
Next up, former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer on this story. Democrats pretty much shell-shocked that the forecasts of a blue wave victory were wrong. They didn't win the Senate, and they lost at least 8 House seats. Tonight, this debate. Is there a serious push to oust